such a exciting thing to be talking about, because any fan of Victorian sort of Victoriana would be really very much into this. How did you come about into getting involved, both of you? I'll start with you, Éanna, and then.
The audition came in, as they do, and sometimes you read it and you go, yes, please. And it was one of those, I read it and just loved the writing. I didn't know, I knew of the book, but I hadn't read it, and I picked it up while I was doing the auditions, and just loved the world of it, loved the plot, and loved the role. It's just great when you have something that is that vividly drawn,
How about you, George?
Yeah, very much the same. I wish we were at a stage in the career where they would just go, hey, here's this great role. Do you want to do it? But you get it through and you go, please let me do it. Please. And it was one of those things. I feel like I have an antenna sometimes when things come in. You go, "This is quivering. There's a sync going on here," and it very much was that with Louis, the character, and then from that, exploring the project deeper, reading the book and the scripts, and they were phenomenal. And then you're just hoping and praying. And then
let's talk about your characters, because they are almost the opposite of each other. Your character, Éanna, is very sort of a quietly sort of seething kind of character, and your character is very sort of, lots of hubris and lots of sort of artistic sort of, how was it working with those two characters? I'll start with you, George.
I think it's funny how we've dressed light and dark as well.
Yes, yin and yang.
They are very much different, but also have this thread that ties them together, which is obsession, sort of one of the main themes of the show. And Louis is very, very much a kind of obsessive guy, and I think I have obsessive nature as a man. And then to play that, you don't actually have that many scenes together. They're in the same world and very much aware of each other, but don't tend to cross paths all too often. And I think that is a good way of sort of demonstrating that light and dark. But there's shades of darkness in Louis, there's shades of light, and it's same with Silas, I suppose.
And they're linked. One of the brilliant things about the story, and it's so Victorian, I guess, is like Louis is an artist. I suppose he's allowed to be an artist because of his social standing. And Silas is excluded from that world, like a lot of people. Like Iris is excluded from that world, like Rose is. And there's an interesting thing that the kind of different strata of society interact. So like Silas is a taxidermist who makes some of the creations that are then used in the paintings by the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. So it's a brilliant, there's all these commercial interests where people are crisscrossing, and it brings people from very different spheres colliding together. And it's one of the things I love about Victorian dramas is it has that sense of the hustle and bustle of the city, and also the fact that, there are very strong structures in place that stop, that kind of keep you in your place a bit. And like Iris, like Bluebell, Silas is a guy who's trying to forge his own path and try and kind of break that ceiling. So that's a great thing to play. So although they're very, very different, as you say, they're sort of bound by they both love something and have an obsessive drive about that thing.
And we know that Iris is her character is based on a real life model for was it the Romantics or the Pre-Raphaelites? Pre-Raphaelites.
Yeah.
How much did you know about the Pre-Raphaelite movement and that, all that sort of group of people who basically took whatever they wanted to take from the arts? How much did you know about it?
Yeah.
It's a question for both of you, obviously.
I kind of peripheral knowledge. You hear the term bandied about. Wasn't into art particularly. I didn't grow up looking at galleries and paintings and things like that. So it was very much a world that I didn't know an awful lot about. But as soon as you go, oh, what's this new thing that I haven't heard about? And then you Google it and go, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of stuff here. And there was an exhibition on in Oxford of Pre-Raphaelite sketches. And so I went to that like the day after I booked the job, which was helpful. And Louis is kind of the only fictional member of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood that we deal with in the show, which gave me a certain amount of freedom. I kind of placed him, I created my whole backstory that like he is a real person, but he just obviously didn't get the success that the others did. He just faded into obscurity. Yeah, exactly. And so now, very much like being aware of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood and all they did for art and how they're still respected and people will still like adore their work today. I think Andrew Lloyd Webber is like the biggest collector of Pre-Raphaelite paintings in the world.
There's lots of it at the Tate Britain as well.
Yeah,
so
they
I
did
would
an exhibition
recommend,
on Rossetti recently. I think.
Let me ask about the science bit of things, because there are some really interesting things, because like your character could be an amalgamation of loads of different sort of people working in the science field around that time. And how was it? Was it interesting for you to get to know about all that stuff?
So interesting. It was one of the great joys of the job, is that like Elizabeth has rooted the book really in this like fast-changing time, mid-century Victorian England, where, you know, art, science, there's kind of explosions in both. There's, you know, they're really evolving. And in science, it was like, we had the first kind of use of antiseptics and sedatives and things like this. So you've got Joseph Lister making, Listerine, what was an antibacterial thing. So like this whole new world of microbiology kind of opening up for people. And taxidermy is this really interesting thing because it's very Victorian, because it was a kind of a curiosity thing to it. You know, it was like people loved the whimsy of having little, you know, stuffed mice or rats dressed in human clothes reading newspapers and things like that. But then there was people who really saw it as the kind of the forefront of the sciences. Like, you know, there's the Horniman Gallery in London, which is, I think he was a huge taxidermist, where it was about a kind of a curiosity and a fascination in the natural world. And I think Silas, very, very much like any businessman, he's got to sort of diversify, but that's where he sees himself. He sees himself in the kind of at the forefront of the kind of the science of the discipline, rather than, you know, creating little stuffed mice for kids to play with.
Did you stuff any mice, mate?
Interesting that you asked me that. I did actually.
Yeah. Stuffed any mouse.
It's funny. I never talked about this.
Let's ask you one question about each of your characters, but I'm going to do it differently. So, what is your favourite part about Silas's character, and the other way around?
Yeah.
What about Silas interests you as a character, and would you have found yourself like just as happy playing that character?
I never would have gotten cast as that character, because it's far too nuanced and difficult, and he's such a better actor than me. No, he's not. I think I really am appealed to Silas's kind of solitary nature. He's very much a lone figure moving through London, which is pretty much me now. Moved to Camden. I don't know anyone there. Just walking through the streets, looking for friends.
Walking around
Camden. Hey, will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? No one. They just walk on by.
I'll be your friend.
Thanks, mate. That aspect is, and I think you play it beautifully. This kind of solitary nature that you can't really get through text. It's just in the being, and I think you nailed that.
The thing they're kind of not too dissimilar. The thing I love about Louis, and I think in George's portrayal of him especially, that you brought out, is that he's ready to change, and he's so well drawn that he's like obsessively striving for perfection in his discipline and all of that. But he's also got a critical eye, and he's ready to sort of. He can be bombastic, and he can be completely, you know, like defiant in what he believes in, but he's also ready to evolve and completely shift the way that he sees things. And I thought that was something you played beautifully in it, and it's just a really nice detail, considering it's a period piece. It's a sort of patriarchal structure that you have to have a male character he's able to cast a critical eye on himself.
Look at that! What an answer!
Excellent. Thank you very much. Really, congratulations. I absolutely loved this, and I just found it's like a warm bath to get into every day. And I'm actually saving up. I've only watched 2 episodes, so I'm saving the rest of them.
Good. Well, that's great, because it really rockets on in 3 and 4, and
thank you, guys.
Changes.
All right. Lovely to meet
Thank you, Linda. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey, you guys.
Hey you guys.
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey you guys.
Hey, you guys!